crappening? Welcome to Under the Foreskin, a show dedicated to the happenings of the SJU and Misfits Fantasy Football League. My name is Kyle. I'm the head of football operations for the Potomac Pretenders, the most true-to-form named team in the SJU and Misfits Fantasy Football League. At 4-0, I truly was pretending. I'm now 5-7 and out of the playoff hunt for the most part. 1 in a million chance if, every player in the NFL does terrible this week except for the players on my team, which that won't happen, so we're into rebuilding mode in Potomac. It's the last week before playoffs. Week 13 is upon us, so 14, 15, 16 are the playoffs. 8 teams make it, 6 best records and 2 wild cards. Sorry about the miss last week. It was Thanksgiving, and just had a busy week of work being an ice cream and milkman, and just couldn't get behind the mic. Anywho, hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving, is cured of their Thursday turkey hangover and their Friday last night with treadle hangover. Took a couple days for me, but all is well. Let's go through what happened last week. It was a big week for a lot of teams. Put a lot of teams to 7-5 and a lot of teams to 5-7. But some high point totals kind of rocketed some teams back into the conversation for playoff talk. So here we go. Week 12, Under the Foreskin. 5-7 Potomac Pretenders took on the now 11-1 Sioux City Smugglers and lost 109-71. Pretty much eliminating the Pretenders from playoff contention, especially with the 71-point game. Would have needed, maybe 101 or something more like that to keep this one close. Lance Ball, didn't play up to expectations for the Pretenders, 0 points. What's frustrating is the highest bidder for B. Brown, I can't remember what the fuck his first name is, the running back for the Philadelphia Eagles in place of Sean McCoy. He went for $3 to the Crapstone Prairie Dogs. On Monday night, he scored 27 points. So I paid 6 for Lance Ball, just expecting him to get more carries for longer. What I should have done is jumped on Bryce Brown, that's his name, and taken the hot 1 week. I mean, who knew he'd play like that, obviously, but it would have been, in hindsight, it would have been a lot smarter to take Bryce Brown. That 27 points wouldn't have won me the game against the Smugglers, but it might have kept me in the talks for most points scored in the league to get a wild card spot. Antonio Gates, Jeremy Macklin continue to disappoint for the Pretenders. 0 and 5 points, or 1 and 5 points between those two this week. It's been a disappointing season all year for those two. For the Smugglers, nice start of the St. Louis D versus Arizona Cardinals, and that Lindley character to score 26 points proved to be the difference in the game. And a lot of Rogers regulars played well. Had some holes actually this week. Looked not impenetrable, but, kind of a meshy, kind of a bulletproof vest. You could hit him. Might be hard to beat him, but you could hit him this week. Crapstone Prairie Dogs moved up to 7-5 with a win over the Flint Tropics, who followed at 4-8. 100-85 was the score of this one. Up and down this week for Alex Dunn and his Crapstone Prairie Dogs. 15 points, 4 points, 25 points, 4 points, 12 points, 6 points, 15 points, 4 points, 15 points. So a lot of up and down, but, enough ups in there to get the win over Flint. The Flint Tropics actually had a hope on Monday night, needed 17 points on Jonathan Stewart and Deshaun Jackson. He got 2. Unfortunately, Deshaun Jackson went out with 9 broken ribs, and Stewart went out with, I think, a bad ankle or something after just a few plays. Next up, Baton Rouge Border Collies, 3rd straight win for the home crowd in Baton Rouge. 5-7 they're up to with a whopper this week, 127 points, vaulting them up into contention for that last wild card spot. People are excited in Baton Rouge. He beat the Waco Wrinklebees this week, who put up 92 points, very respectable, who also fall to 5-7. Looks like Sioux City Smugglers on the Baton Rouge Border Collies this week. 28 points, 13 points, 15, 15, 16, 10, 11, 8, 11. Pretty solid week out of everyone this week for the Baton Rouge Border Collies. Like I said, 3-game win streak for the Border Collies. And, for the Waco Wrinklebees, just couldn't keep up with that really, really good consistency that Baton Rouge showed this week. Starks, Tony Gonzalez, and Sidney Rice were 3 holes in the lineup, scoring 13 points combined. That was the difference in the game. Fortunately for the Waco Wrinklebees, as we'll talk about later, still sitting well for that first wild card spot with a lot of points scored on the season. So congrats to Joel, and looking like he's going to make the playoffs in his first year in the SJU Misfits Fantasy Football League. 6-6, now 6-6 Hollywood Hotties took on the Chernobyl Tin Whiskers, who fall to 3-9 with a 1-point loss, 87-86. Tom Brady carried the squad for the Hotties, 30 points this week. San Francisco defense on the bench with 22 points. He started, I believe, Miami defense, who put up a whopping 3 points. For the Hotties, it's going to be a win and they're in probably kind of situation. We'll get into that in a little bit, but that 22 points could prove valuable in tiebreakers. Bench in San Francisco. They did play New Orleans, so you can't fault them for that, but 22 points, you see that on your bench, it's tough to look at. For Chernobyl, left the winner of the game on the bench. He started Sean Green versus New England, real tough run defense, and he could have started Stevie Johnson versus Indy. Indy's pretty soft on the pass D. I probably would have went Stevie Johnson. That would have won him the game. Of course, easy to say that after the fact, and as I'm sitting here in the chair looking at that disease 3-9 record. Next up, Duluth Draft Dodgers fall to 4-8 with a loss to the Tallahassee Trolley Snakes. Big win for Tallahassee this week. Moved to 7-5 and put destiny in their own hands, winning their in this week. 96-60 was the final. Interesting note about this game: tons of ex-Duluth Draft Dodgers on the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes. Ahmad Bradshaw, Roddy White, and Steve Smith. So those three combined for a decent amount of points, especially Ahmad Bradshaw with 17. Good days out of Reggie Bush and Steven Jackson, 14 points apiece. And Tony Romo, the new quarterback at the helm, 28 points on Thanksgiving. For the Dodgers, Matt Forte goes down. Nothing really went well this week for the Draft Dodgers. Gnawbone Butte Pirates lose a tough one. A win would have guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. They lose, though, to the Buffalo Armadillos, 126-98. Difference in this game, 28 points out of the New England defense on Thanksgiving versus the Jets. Nice start by Jack there. Cecil Shorts, another 17-point week. Last 3 weeks, 17, 14, 17. I didn't believe in Cecil Shorts. Congratulations, Jack, for keeping him in your lineup. He's been a huge player for you down the stretch here to keep you both win relevant and points relevant. For the Butte Pirates, 37 points out of Cam Newton. Hell of a game. Been looking for that all season. But 0 out of Miles Austin and 1 out of Freddie Jackson. The more concerning is that Freddie Jackson doesn't look like he's going to get a lot of work in Buffalo going forward. Poughkeepsie Pandas take on the Sausage Wallets and even up the score with the Sausage Wallets. Both teams now 7-5 after the Pandas win 91-81. Unexpected big game out of Ben Jarvis Green Elvis, 19 points. The law firm, has been pretty quiet all season, but has picked up in the last couple weeks just in time for playoffs. Nothing jumps off the page when you look at the Poughkeepsie's point totals, but, solid performance out of everyone and just didn't have any zeros up there, which really helps. For the Sausage Wallets, they were projected for 81 points. They scored 81 points. The lineup is just not looking as good as it once was. Percy Harvin was out again. The Steelers running back isn't quite as clear-cut as it once was. So Sausage Walls are scrambling a little bit as they move towards the playoffs. Big game for them this week coming up, which we'll get to. Waiver Wire Wednesday. Nothing really worth reporting. Noshan Moreno on Sunday was announced that he would be the starting running back for the Denver Broncos, and he was on the waiver wire. And I was sitting on my couch watching this, and Dave Treadle beat me to Noshan Moreno by literally, I think, 30 seconds. It was 11:34 when Treadle picked him up, and on my phone it was 11:34. So he must have literally just grabbed him before I did. He ended up with, I think, 10 points or something, so a solid week, and kind of solidified Tallahassee's. Oh no, he didn't even start Moreno, so he would have helped the Pretenders, but kept him out of my hands, which might prove to be pretty helpful for Dave, as we have pretty close to similar point totals. Let's, instead of going through the playoff thing right now, let's do picks, and then I'm just going to talk about, there's a ton of situations that could happen because of the wild card and points scored. A lot could happen. There's some cool matchups this week where winning you're in, lose and you're on the fence. We can dig into that. Let's go through the picks. I like the Pretenders, my team, over the Duluth Draft Dodgers this week. I like Crapstone over the Sausage Wallets in a win and in game. Bakersfield Border Collies over the Flint Tropics. That's going to be all about points for the Bakersfield Border Collies. It doesn't really even matter if he wins. The Hollywood Hotties over the Waco Wrinkle Beasts. Tough matchups for Waco this week. And the Hotties, if they win, I believe they will be in. Again, it's really tough to tell because it depends on point totals. But a win would put the Hotties at 7-6. Tied with the Sausage Wallets at 7-6. The Butte Pirates 7-6. And that would be it according to the rest of my picks. I like the Smugglers over the Tin Whiskers, obviously. Tallahassee, I'm taking them over the Gnawbone Butte Pirates, but really tough game to pick, and that's a win and you're in. And for Zach and possibly Dave, if stuff doesn't go his way, it could be a lose and you're out, just because of point totals and making that wild card spot. And I like Poughkeepsie Panda over the Buffalo Armadillos. So here's how it breaks down. Sioux City Smugglers locked down number 1 spot, 12-1 this year. If they win this week. Poughkeepsie Pandas, if they win as I think they will over Buffalo, they'll be 8-5 and should lock down the second place unless the Crapstone Prairie Dogs win and outscore them by over 50 points. Tallahassee, if they win as I'm projecting, they'll be in at 8-5 with a lower point total than the people below them, but still in with that best record. Sausage Wallets, if they lose their game like I'm projecting, they'll fall to 7-6, but with an 1109 point total plus what they get this week, I think they'll be the number 1 seed. If the Hotties win, they'll also be 7-6. They have a 1,071 plus point total this week. So they're going to obviously need, 38 more points than the Sausage Wallets to overtake them in the standings. I don't see that most likely happening. You never know with the way the Sausage Wallets are playing. But looking like those are going to be the 6 top teams. Now, with that said, their 2 wildcard spot, Waco Wrinklebees, have one locked up with 1,119 points plus whatever they score this week, unless they literally put up like 40 or 50 and everyone else is putting up 100, 110. There's a good chance they're going to be in the playoffs. So like I said, congratulations, Joel. Wildcard 2, if it falls like I'm projecting it to, Buffalo Armadillos in the lead with 1,094 points plus what they get this week, which means the Border Collies at 1,054 points are going to have to score 40 more points than the Buffalo Armadillos this week. My Potomac Pretenders, 1,024 points, going to need to score 70 more. Like I said, I'm out. And then the Butte Pirates with 1,008 points. If they don't win this week, it's going to be tough, and that's going to slide. If they do win, that's going to slide Tallahassee down into that pool of Wild Card 2 contenders. 16 points behind the Border Collies, and what would that be? 56 points behind the. So really, it's Buffalo. If they go out there and put up a 90 point week, they're in. They're going to be that wild card 2 spot if they do lose, in fact, to Poughkeepsie. So I think that's probably enough. Like I said, Tallahassee and Gnawbone Butte Pirates, win and you're in. Lose and you're probably not going to make it. And Crapstone and Sausage Wallets, win and you're in. Lose, and if you don't do terrible, you're probably going to be in. Poughkeepsie locked in pretty much. Smugglers locked in pretty much. Waco Wrinklebees locked in pretty much. So it's really going to come on to who's going to get that wild card 2 spot for most points scored regardless of record. Also kind of want to note, Alex and I have not figured out how to address how to seed the playoffs. Obviously, we have our way we're doing it. Top 6 records, and then 7 and 8 are wild card, most points scored regardless of record for those who aren't in the top 6. We haven't figured out how to do that on Yahoo yet, so we'll get back to you guys. Do not panic if Tuesday rolls around, the thing's locked in. We will have it figured out by Thursday. If we have to do it by hand, we will. But if we have to adjust some records, we will. We will make sure that the correct teams are in the playoffs, seats 1 through 8. Other than that, follow us on Twitter at SJU Misfits and on YouTube, youtube.com/SJU Misfits. Until next week, good luck out there this week. If you're in that bottom 6 or 4 or 3 or whatever teams that are rebuilding, good luck. The waiver wire is thin, and just cross your fingers and hope you can get a gem for next season. For everyone else, good luck this week. Really, from the bottom of my heart, love to see this kind of drama at the end with so many 7 and 5 and 5 and 7 teams all in the hunt. So pretty cool stuff this week. We'll talk to you next week when we'll break down the first week of the playoffs, who got in, what happened. Should be a really fun episode. Hopefully we can get a guest next week. If you'd like to be on, please contact me. My mobile number. That would be wonderful. Until next week, talk to you later.